Radhe Radhe. Welcome to the beginning of another live Sangha. May this be an offering to Sri Radha Krishna. Hello, Dylan. And as we await our first guests to arrive, allow me to set the intention for this space as being a blissful, peaceful, welcoming environment open to everyone, regardless of background, identity, ethnicity, belief system, or any kind of affiliation which may categorize us on the surface, but unify us at heart. Hello, Quill. Hello, Rachel Blackmoon. And I trust that all those who are coming in now are doing as well as they can, given whatever circumstances may be prevailing in your life at this time. And thank you, Shannon. What a wonderful thing to say. And hello, Scott. Hello, Gardening Gregard G. You are very early. Early enough for me to tell you all that I hope you feel included, accepted, and comfortable here, because you are allowed to be here. You are never expected to be here, of course, but in this universe of many things, you're allowed to be here. That is for sure. And thank you, Vladimir, for your tiny. Yippee! Asma, you asked, did I go live today or yesterday? Yesterday, I took the day off. Namaskaram, Veri. And hello, Dansuela. Colin's mother, you ask, why did I delete my videos? Well, if you want a longer answer than one I can give you on the spot here, if you are curious, in the link tree in my bio, I've put a frequently asked questions link in the link tree, and there I give you the full story. So you're welcome to go check that out. And thank you, Mellow Maverick, for your rose as well, blessing us so early. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Asma, you share you waited till morning. Well, I appreciate your patience. If ever you want to know any change in my schedule, I post to my Instagram story. That way, you can make sure that you get the sleep you need instead of staying up for me. Dylan, you ask, should you still have a worldly life while pursuing spiritual knowledge? It can be an interesting challenge to be spiritual while also living in this world. And that was the question that Arjuna posed Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. He said, "O Krishna, is it better to live a life of renunciant, where we go into the woods or the Himalayan caves and just meditate, or should we be engaged in our worldly duties? Which of these is superior?" And Krishna said so elegantly that both are valid choices one could make. Ultimately, if you choose to renounce society and go live in the forest, you technically have the free will to do so. But what precedent are you setting for others that to be spiritual means to run away from the world? Therefore, it is superior to live an inwardly spiritual life, dedicating all of your worldly actions to the divine, And you are welcome to read more in the Bhagavad Gita on why that is, how one should renounce not their actions, but the fruits of their actions. And thank you, Asma, for your heartmeet. Jai Sitaram. Hello, Dopamine Queen. Hello, Chloe Evans. And hello, Alice. And Alana, you share that you're going to venture out soon to try to catch the Aurora Borealis. How lovely is that? I was very blessed to see it last night for the first time in my life, which is amazing. What an incredible experience to watch the sky dance. Very opening. And thank you, Lana, for your quartet of roses. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Sarah Sherman, thank you for your half-dozen roses. Yes, the experience was wonderful, Dopamine Queen. I took some lovely pictures of the northern lights, and I laid on my roof, just watching the sky shimmer. Amazing. Now, since you all are very early, before we get too deep into questions and answers, I hope for your patience and excitement as we go through 2 initial segments. I have a question of the day for you all, and then we'll read a short section from a book, and then we can go into our regular format. Dylan's excited for the question of the day. My question of the day today is a little long-winded. In what experience have you found bliss where others may have expected not to? Feel free to liberally interpret this question. I'm looking for a kind of experience which might be seen as a negative one, yet you are able to find the positive within. You are able to find some peace or happiness. Mellow Maverick, you share such a wonderful answer. By losing it all and hitting the bottom, hit the most amazing bliss. Yes, I understand that. And feel free to take as long as you need to think about the question of the day. And if you don't have an answer too, that's okay. And hello, Melanie. You share ocean sands. Interesting. I too find ocean sands very blissful. Unlike Anakin Skywalker. Sand, coarse and rough, gets everywhere. I love the feeling of sand on my feet. And Laura, you share concerts and experiencing music in a social gathering. Yeah, I can see that. Knowing me, I'd probably get overstimulated. But some people like that. A lot of people like that. And thank you, Inevitable, for your trio of roses. Jai Sitaram. And Laura, you add that a runner's high is a nice bliss too. So I have heard. And Greg RG, you share sitting in your yard, looking at trees. I like that. Sometimes you have to fight the boredom and surrender to the experience of not doing anything but being a witness. And Johannes, you share work. That's a great answer, and I'm so happy to hear that you can find some happiness in the work that you do. And Sarah, you add being still. I love that as well. And thank you, Borg Bong, for your quintet of tiny tinies and a rose. Yahoo! I hear them all say. Hello, Anthony. And Asma, you share being alone most of the time. Definitely, having that solitude can be very blissful if you allow yourself. And I encourage many people to experience that too, with curiosity. And Anthony, you share by uncovering the humor in life. Definitely. There's a lot of it if you can look for it. Sometimes it's hard to see. And hello, Anna. You share, I have changed. Well, I hope for the better in your eyes. And thank you, Usha, for your heart me. Jai Sitaram. And Mills, you share, in a blizzard, minus 50 degrees Celsius, playing outdoor hockey. Blissful to you, frigid for others. I like that. Greetings, Isabella. Nish, you share, by being in the presence of your favorite DJs, artists, and mentors. I'm happy that you can find the bliss of being a student, learning. Chris, you ask, am I going to say shh again tonight, later as you sleep? Hush, hush. Everything is gonna be okay. It is. And thank you, Alex. Brittany, you find bliss in pretty rocks. I love that. Rocks are friends, in my opinion. And thank you, the link below, for your rose. In learning, says Isabella. And Nish, you are really in bliss, doing live sound for Shiva Yogi Pray. That sounds lovely. Oh, how enchanting music can be for the soul. Donsuela, you share by sitting for long periods of time while doing artwork. I love that. Creative process can be very blissful and very frustrating at times. And both at the same time. And hello, and thank you, Dub Darker, for your heart me. Radhe, Radhe. Gardening Gregarji, you like to see the movement of the leaves. Funny because the trees are so still right now. Good evening, prayer warrior. And Dylan, you share maybe awkwardness with friends. You were able to step outside. That and find inner clarity. I love all that. I think awkwardness can be very beautiful. And in that treasury of precious moments where everyone is so excited to connect with one another, there is a lot of sparkling bliss. And hello, KB Moore from Haiti. Smack the burner, you share beauty. there is so much beauty in bliss and bliss in beauty. And Johannes, you add that, yeah, you are blessed with having a job that you enjoy and not feeling like it's something you dislike doing. I'm very happy to hear that. And Carl, you ask a funny question. Why every night in your dreams you pass through the gates of the black earth? Sounds very symbolic. I think dreams are very personal, and whatever meaning that you are able to find in that, I'll gladly support. And Anthony, you feel the peace and calmness already. I'm happy to hear that. Borgbong, you had asked what chants I did to perform. Or what chants did I perform when starting to relieve my anxiety? Just the classic Mahamantra, also known as the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Chris, you find bliss in recess? Ah, recess. A good time that was. Hello, Aquarius lady. And Usha, you share a wonderful quote from Ramana Maharshi. There are no others. Only the self within you and within everyone. Stoff Wexel, you share that in some short moments right before falling asleep, on a day that you nap, you felt how great life really is. That has a word, Morpheus, I believe. It's the bliss you feel right before falling asleep, Morpheus, which is where the character named Morpheus got his name in the Matrix. That's our word of the day, Morpheus. Frostalgia, you share, choosing to follow intuition and live authentic. I love that. Swilliams, you ask, what brought me to this bliss? You know, suffering did. I think, in some sense, once you suffer enough, nothing becomes more meaningful than the pursuit of bliss. You become desperate for it, that you will gladly put all of your belief systems aside, your identities, associations, for being free, finding that happiness. And thank you, Asma, for your TikTok, a GG, an ice cream cone, and a cloud bread. Hari Om Tat Sat. Mari, you ask, did I color my hair black? No. I have yet to dye my hair in this lifetime, but I do change the color of my lights around sometimes. Now, I am sure that we can explore this question of the day for quite some time. For now, I thank you for exploring it with me. There are many answers that I have yet to read out. But in the interest in doing some other things in this live stream, let us pause our question of the day there for now. So thank you. And thank you, Michael Peck, for your rose. Jai Sitaram. Kiki, you ask, do I stream every day this time? At this time, around 5 p.m. Pacific time, although it's surely closer to 6 p.m. now, I have been trying to. Yesterday, I took the day off. Although I usually try 7 days a week, perhaps I could be a little kinder to myself and take a day off or two every week. But I'll let you know the schedule change when I figure that out. Radhe, Radhe, Zach. Yes, I did see the aurora, and I very much enjoyed it. It was such a magical experience. So one more thing I'd like to do before fully opening the floor to questions and answers and conversations on bliss, I would like to read from another short section of Roar the Ganges. This is a book we've been reading together, a few pages at a time, and we've made it all the way to page 266. The last time we read, our protagonist, Mark, died. Or at least, metaphorically died, as he renounced his old identity and became Swami Taratmananda Saraswati, a Hindu monk of the Saraswati order, a sannyasi, a renunciate. Now we are reading this chapter titled A Sannyasi's Life. We are going to explore, I assume, what it's like to be a Swami now. Thursday, March 23rd. The following morning, I awoke feeling refreshed and clear-headed. After bathing, I picked up an orange dhoti from the stack of new clothes Mataji had brought to my room yesterday. Touching the cloth, I pondered how strange it seemed for me to wear these saffron robes. Over the years, I had developed deep respect for those who wore such robes, mostly because my own guru wore them. I knew very well that not every saffron-draped sadhu lives up to the highest ideals of spiritual life, but for me, those robes represented an unconditional commitment to uphold the sannyasi's vows of renunciation and non-injury. At first, it felt almost disrespectful for me to wear the robes of a sannyasi. Yet, I understood that these robes are worn not so much as a sign to others, but as a sign for oneself. They serve as a powerful reminder of one's own commitment, a reminder present every waking hour. They remove the wearer from participating in mundane life. One can hardly go to movies or attend parties so attired. Also, they send an unambiguous message to people looking for a romantic partner. Warning: monk, not available. As I walked through the courtyard towards the dining hall, I heard my friend Vijay's voice behind me. "Good morning, Swamiji." I assumed he was greeting one of the ashram resident swamis, and so I walked on. Then he said, a little louder this time, "Hello, Swamiji." I kept on walking. Finally, he cried out my old name. "Hey, Mark." I spun around, suddenly realized that he had been trying to get my attention all along. I was not accustomed to being addressed as a Swami. It never crossed my mind that he had been talking to me. Still laughing at my confusion, we walked together into the dining hall. After breakfast, workers were busy erecting an enormous white and red striped canopy in the courtyard. Vijay explained that a Bandhara would be held today. A Bandhara is a feast, a banquet, to which dozens or even hundreds of sadhus are invited as guests of honor. Bandharas are frequently sponsored by generous visitors to the ashram who want to feed sannyasis and brahmacharis as an act of religious charity. The sponsors not only assume all the expenses for the bandhara, but often help serve the guests as well. Under the canopy, long mats were rolled out for seating and place settings carefully arranged. Each setting included a plate and bowl made of leaves, deftly stitched together. These inexpensive and practical utensils not only eliminated the need for washing, but were disposed of most ecologically by letting hungry cows eat them. Waves of sannyasis and brahmacharis began streaming into the ashram shortly before noon. They formed an exotic procession unique to Hindu culture. Some sadhus wore dreadlock twists, or dreadlocks twisted into bulging masses piled on their head, while others arrived with shiny, recently shaven heads. Some came attired in silk shirts and carefully pressed dhotis, wearing numerous strands of sacred rudraksha beads around their necks. Others wore nothing but a single tattered cloth. Their robes varied in hue, from faded peach to a deep red that resembled the maroon robes worn by Buddhist monks. Some looked barely 20 years old, while others bore flowing white beards and faces deeply lined with age. Before long, about 200 sadhus were seated in the shade of the canopy. At the appointed time, they all began to chant the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, as is customarily done before meals in many ashrams. While they chanted, a crew of 10 volunteers came with buckets of steaming food and walked down each row, serving the sadhus. Swami Suddhananda stood nearby, supervising the activity. When I asked him who was sponsoring today's Bandhara, he said the benefactor was Raj, the bank executive from Delhi. It was not long before Raj appeared with a huge stack of crisp, new 10 rupee notes in his hand. He began going down each row, giving 20 rupees to each sadhu. I quickly calculated that the total cost of this bandhara would be a significant part of a monthly salary for Raj. Swami Sudhananda told me that for some of these sadhus, the only money they get is what they receive at bandharas. They can easily receive food from the anakshetras that feed sadhus each day, but they still need money for other essentials like soap and sandals. Many sadhus are without the comforts enjoyed by residents of this beautiful ashram, where 3 hot meals are served every day. Many survive with difficulty, living a meager existence, dependent on charity for every aspect of their sustenance. I asked Swami Sudhananda what happens to such sadhus when they fall ill. Sometimes, he answered, they are taken to a hospital that accepts charity cases, and sometimes they just die. Every person was served generous portions of rice, curry, puris, and dal. They also received a special sweet called laddu. Laddus are golf ball-shaped lumps of sugar and butter, with just enough chickpea flour to hold them together. As the volunteers circulated to serve seconds, I was astonished by how many laddus these sadhus could consume. After all had eaten their fill, they chanted a final prayer. Then, like a sudden storm, they all rose at once and quickly scattered out the gate. Not one stayed to loiter or chat. Within moments, the ashram was quiet again. The only evidence of the bandhara was the canopy and hundreds of leaf plates and bowls. Those plates and bowls would soon become a tasty treat for nearby cows who would enjoy a banquet of their own. And we'll pause our reading there for now. What a cute little day so far. A little party for many swamis and sadhus. That is fun. Thank you for listening with me, and we may open the floor now to conversations on spiritual things. And thank you to those who sent a gift whilst I read. Do allow me the honor of extending my gratitude to you now. And thank you, Scott, for your rose a few minutes ago. Hari Om Tat Sat. And yes, what is your question, Nish? And I'm glad you enjoyed the reading, Anthony. And Kato, thank you for your 10 roses. Hari Om Tat Sat. Mellow Maverick, you're wondering, how can you join? You were just going to move to the woods, but 3 meals sounds nice. I wonder how these sadhus find out about such gatherings. I guess their intuition must guide them, so they emerge from the forests at the right times. And hello, Nicole. And thank you, Chris Martin, for your ice cream. An ice cream cone, that is. Another one, and a pair of cloud breads. Radhe, Radhe. And I'm doing well today. Thank you for asking, Anna. Feeling very humbled and generally relaxed. Nish, you share that you've been told not to read Gita if you have smoked or eaten meat. What are my thoughts? Reminds me of a joke that we told 2 days ago, where a man goes up to a priest and he said, "Father, is it okay if I smoke while I pray?" And the father said, "It is generally unadvisable to do such a thing while you pray. Sorry." The man said, "That's understandable, but I'd like a second opinion." So I went to a different priest, and this time he phrased the question differently. Instead of asking, "Is it okay if I smoke while I pray?" he asked, "Is it okay if I pray while I smoke?" And the priest said, "Of course. Whatever time you can fit in for prayer is a good time." By all means. Similarly, perhaps it is best not to do sinful things while reading a holy book. But whatever time you can fit in to read a holy book, even if you're preoccupied with sinful things, go for it. And this is my show. Thank you for that heart me a moment ago. Hari Om Tat Sat. A person once asked, "Am I allowed to attend church while I smoke weed?" And the priest said, "Of course." The person said, confused, "But shouldn't I become pure first before joining your community?" And the priest said, "Son, do you clean yourself before you step into the shower?" The man said, "No. I go into the shower so I can become clean, Father." Exactly. You don't have to drop all of your negative associations before you associate with something positive. It is by the association of the positive that your negative associations drop away. And thank you, Nicole, for your rose. Donut, friendship necklace, perfume, rosa, rose, a donut, and a TikTok. Hari Om Tat Sat. And hello, Old Forester. Mob, you ask if you can get my opinion on something heavy? If you feel comfortable sharing here, you are welcome. If you would prefer a more private audience, you are welcome to reach out to me on another platform. And this is my show. Thank you for your heart me a moment ago. Jai Sitaram. The Ashen Chevalier, you share that I'm giving of undeniable radiance today. That's very interesting. It is funny how I often feel not so different day to day when I come to you. And yet, in each live, you all see something different in me every day. Which is interesting. And Old Forester, thank you for your pair of cloud braids. Jai Sitaram. I did see the I was about to say the Northern Knights, which sounds like some secret band of wandering knights. Knight. The Northern Knights. I did see the Northern Lights, and they were very magical. And Tan Hao Yo, thank you for your heart me a few minutes ago. Radhe, Radhe. Starfire, you ask if I colored my hair. You're the second person to ask me today. I'm not sure why that is. Now, I did take a shower last night. Maybe my hair just looks darker when it isn't so fuzzy, and in all that frizz, it refracts the light differently or diffuses it differently. That's my theory anyway. S. Williams, you ask, what's my secret? My secret to what? I try not to have any secrets. And Tan Hao Yu, you are wondering, no ASMR on weekends? Sundays I try for ASMR. And Greg RG, you share that it's crazy how different I am today compared to yesterday. Well, I wasn't on yesterday. And Mob, you share that one of your best friends of 25 years did something really, really bad. He's going to jail. And you don't know how to something. The comment got cut off, but I think I understand. You don't know what to do in this situation, how to manage such a relationship. The good news is that whatever you decide to do, it is made right by the fact that it is your freedom to choose. You know, if right now you are having a difficult time processing, then you are welcome to take some time to process that. If you feel like a part of them still deserves your companionship, then you absolutely can still be there for them without validating what harm they may have caused to others. It is probably now more than ever that they need a good role model in their life and some support. But if that's not something that you have the energy for right now, then that's also completely understandable. So I hope, if anything, you can drop the pressure that you have to make some kind of decision right now. There isn't a wrong or a right thing to do in this scenario. Just being patient with yourself as you process these changes, I am sure that the decisions that you make will become right by your own understanding. But all my best wishes to you and your friend. We can have friends and still acknowledge that they make mistakes, sometimes really big, life-altering mistakes. And that is also a part of life. And thank you for asking, Maya. I am doing okay. Thank you. Old Forester, you share that you want to send me a concrete gnome. You make them. You have a meditating one coming soon. I can't say I've ever been offered a gnome before. At least not intentionally. Someone accidentally sent me a gnome once. I sent it back to them, but I am sure that my mother would love to have a concrete gnome somewhere, but I appreciate the offer by itself. And Hanan, thank you for your 5 roses. Actually, 6. 7 of them. I count in the last several minutes. Thank you. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Old Forester, thank you for your trio of roses. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Inevitable, thank you for your trio of roses as well. Jai Sitaram. And Kay, you were wondering, most of my live uploaded on YouTube were deleted. What happened to them? Over the past few weeks, I had been privating the first few months of live streams that I uploaded. And I have some very personal reasons for them. And if you'd like, we can discuss them. I was waiting until some of you asked for me to talk about it. And in no direct terms, I would just like to say that in the videos that I did private, I did so because I was attributing them to a spiritual organization that might not have your best interest in mind. So, out of respect for all of you, I would like to ensure your safety in not directing you to a place that you might come to be taken advantage of. And if you want to know more about that, you are welcome to message me. And Esther, thank you for your rose a moment ago too. Jai Sitaram. And Liz, thank you for your heart me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sky Guardian, you would love a live daily, perhaps shorten it. You share that you are selfish, but you want to finish the books. That's quite alright. It is certainly not selfish to share what you are passionate for, as long as it doesn't come with expectations, of course. But yes, given that in my own personal life right now, there are some challenges that might provoke me to taking some time off. Perhaps a good compromise is to temporarily shorten the duration of our lives. Thank you, Little Wing Nico, for your heart me, pair of finger hearts, and a tiny tiny. And Lonella, thank you for your rose and finger heart. Hari Om Tat Sat. And I thank you for all of your understandings and support. And thank you, Esther, for your rose. Radhe, Radhe. And Tatvamasi, thank you for your quintet of roses. Jai Sitaram. And Kay, you ask, am I getting closer to my goal of getting money to travel to India? Yes, indeed. Right now I have saved up 2,000 Canadian dollars. And that is definitely most of the way there. It all depends now on what kind of travel insurance I get, and my departure date, and where I intend to arrive, which can affect exactly how much I need, of course, but that is probably a difference of a few hundred at most, and definitely not a few thousand. So I eagerly anticipate that day, and I am very nervous as well, but I am so grateful, beyond grateful, for all the support you have shown me in helping an internet stranger achieve their dreams of traveling to such a spiritual culture for me to really immerse myself in. And I do plan on seeing the Ganges. Yes, indeed. And Ginseng, thank you for your bubble tea a few minutes ago. Hari Om Tat Sat. And thank you for saying that, mothering addiction. I trust that in any way I have been of help was truly an opportunity for me to witness the beauty unfold within your very own potential. And truly, I do nothing. And thank you, Liz, for your dancing beaver and sunglasses, and a tiny tiny. Yahoo! And Christian, thank you for your heartmate. Hari Om Tat Sat. And thank you, Theo, for sharing your blessings here and with everyone. Small, you ask, will I live stream there or post videos? I suppose that all depends on what I get myself into. Perhaps I may be somewhere without internet, and perhaps the internet may not be good enough to stream. But in whatever capacity I have to have an online presence there to bring you with me, know that I will take advantage of that. Thank you, hand fingers. And Maya Fiona, thank you for your team bracelet too. And Claire, thank you for your rose. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Tatvamasi, thank you for your quintet of roses. Jai Sitaram. Little Wing Nico, you share that you've been walking around the past couple days saying Hari Om Tat Sat. It's a very auspicious thing to say. I am sure that everyone around you is blessed. I should tell you what it means. Hari, Hari, means the one whom has stolen the hearts of all Paramahansas. Paramahansas you can think as enlightened beings. Even enlightened beings can have their heart stolen. And whoever has that capacity is known as Hari. Who is Hari? Hari is the divine feminine. Om, as you know, is a very sacred chant. It represents the creation, preservation, destruction of the whole universe and the impersonal reality, Brahman, all-pervading. Tat means that. I think it is actually where we get the English word that. Tat. Sat means truth. But there's a lot of layers to the spiritual meaning of all of these words. But in general, you can think of Hari Om Tat Sat as that divine feminine expression of the source, creator, preserver, annihilator of the universe. Aspects of that supreme formlessness, that is truth. Hari Om Tat Sat. And thank you, Heather, for your finger heart. Jai Sitaram. Little Wing Nico, you share you've probably been mispronouncing it though. And that's quite alright. The fact that you remember it all from the few times that I say it during these live streams is very endearing to me, as I thank you for listening. And yes, let us read from another section of the Vachanamrut, Sky Guardian. But before I do so, I would like to extend my gratitude to those who sent a gift whilst I read, or whilst I was talking, I should say. Usha, thank you for that hanging lights you sent a few minutes ago. Hari Om Tat Sat. Murgle Grump, you ask, what's my daily advice today? My daily advice today is, remember how precious this moment is, for it shall come to pass. And this is my show. Thank you for your fire. Jai Sitaram. And Steffi Stolt, thank you for your heartmeat, your friendship necklace, and a quintet of roses. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And John Simon, thank you for your heartmeat. And Heather Paup, thank you for your rosa. Radhe Radhe. Thank you, Little Wing Nico, for your ginger man and cloud bread. Jai Sitaram. And Esther, Thank you for your pair of roses. Let us read from another section of the Vachanamrut. This is a selection of about 300 discourses from a great being known as Swami Narayan. This book is like the Bible for the BAPS, which are a spiritual organization, a very big and international one. This book often contains some rather direct terms, as well as a lot of Sanskrit or other Indian words, but it is full of wonderful spiritual wisdom. Today we are reading Kadada 124, the elevated spiritual state of Jnana, knowledge, and sourness in the form of the understanding of God's glory. I am sure this will be an interesting verse. On the evening of Posh Sudhi, the 6th, Samvat 1876, or in our calendar, the 22nd of December 1819, Sriji Maharaj, a term of endearment for Swami Narayan, was sitting on a large, decorated cot on the veranda outside the east-facing rooms of Dada Khachar's Darbar in Gadhada. He had tied a white feto around his head and was wearing a white case. Also, he had donned a warm red dagli and had covered himself with a thick white cotton cloth. At that time, Paramahansas, as well as devotees from various places, had gathered before him. Thereupon, Sriji Maharaj said to the Paramahansas, "I shall now explain how an elevated spiritual state can be attained by Jnana, knowledge. What is that Jnana like? Well, it transcends Prakriti and Purush, nature and consciousness, you could say. The duality of the animate, the inanimate, in this context, in my opinion. When an elevated spiritual state is attained by this Jnana, knowledge, Prakriti and Purusha, and the entities evolved from them do not come into view. This is known as Jnana Pralaya, the dissolution that arises from knowledge. One who has attained such an elevated spiritual state sees only pure Chaitanya, awareness, within which only the form of God, that source, arises, with no other forms remaining. At times, one cannot see even the form of God within that divine light. Only the light is seen. At other times, however, both the divine light and the form of God are seen. This is known as the elevated spiritual state attained by Jnana. Such an elevated spiritual state is attained by constantly maintaining one's vritti, focus, on the form of the incarnate. Yet again, TikTok is unbelieving that I am real, so I have to solve a little puzzle. It's a very simple one-piece puzzle. It is now solved. I'll just repeat that last sentence. Such an elevated spiritual state is attained by constantly maintaining one's vritti on the form of the incarnate God visible at present. Continuing, Sriji Maharaj said, "The extent to which one has understood the glory of God determines the intensity of both the divine light experienced in the heart and the divine sound of pranav that is heard. Om." Furthermore, the extent of one's faith and understanding of the glory of that source, God, determines the extent to which vicious thoughts are curbed. Thus, when one develops absolute faith in that source, God, and thoroughly understands His glory, all of one's vicious thoughts are eliminated. For example, if a person has sucked a slice of lemon, their teeth become a little sensitive, but they are still able to chew soft chana. Does anyone know what chana means? I assume some kind of Indian food. However, if they have sucked a whole lemon, chickpea, alright, thank you, then they are unable to chew even chana, chickpea. In fact, one chews even a mung bean with much difficulty. If, however, they have sucked many lemons, they would be unable to chew even cooked rice. In the same manner, when one has developed sourness in the form of faith in God and an understanding of His glory, one gums in the form of the 4 anthakarans, parts of one's individual being or mind, and 10 indriyas, senses, become sensitized. In that state, the jiva, the soul, is unable to chew chana in the form of thoughts for the vishais, experiences of the senses, with its gums in the form of the man, the mind. With its gums in the form of the chit, consciousness, the jiva becomes incapable of contemplating on the vishais, experiences of the senses. With its gums in the form of the buddhi, the intellect, the jiva becomes incapable of developing a resolve for the vishais, experiences of the senses. With its gums in the form of the ahamkar, the ego, the jiva becomes incapable of developing any form of consciousness related to the vishais, experiences of the senses. Similarly, the jiva, with its gums in the form of the 5 jnana indriyas, the senses of knowledge or faculties of knowledge, and the 5 karma indriyas, the senses of movement, faculties of locomotion, becomes incapable of chewing chana in the form of the vishais, experiences of the senses, of the respective indriyas, senses, or sense organs. Conversely, the indriyas and the anthakaran, the sense organs and the whole mind of a person who does not have absolute faith in that source, God, and who has not fully realized the glory of God, do not withdraw completely from their respective vishais, experiences of the senses, Sriji Maharaj then explained, the form of that source, God, transcends Maya, the material existence, and its gunas, its modes of operations, and is free from all types of flaws. But it is for the sake of the liberation of the jivas, the individual souls, that he appears to be like a human. In fact, that source, God, is devoid of each the flaws that senseless people attribute to him. However, the intellect of the person attributing such flaws will never be freed of those flaws that one attributes to God. Specifically, a person who believes God to be full of lust will themselves become intensely full of lust. A person who believes God to be full of anger will themselves become intensely full of anger. And a person who believes God to be full of avarice will themselves become intensely full of avarice. And a person who believes God to be full of jealousy will themselves become intensely full of jealousy, etc. In fact, whatever types of flaws a person attributes to that source of existence that we call God will ultimately cause misery to the person themselves. Just as a fistful of sand thrown at the sun falls back into the thrower's eyes. On the other hand, if a person realizes God to be absolutely flawless, then regardless of their own swabhavs, they themselves become absolutely flawless as well. Thereafter, Brahmananda Swami asked, suppose there is a person whose indriyas, sense organs, are not drawn towards any of the vishayas, experiences of the senses, nor do vicious thoughts arise in their antakaran, their whole mind. They also have absolute faith in God. Despite this, though, a feeling of unfulfillment remains, and they feel despondent within. What can be the reason for this? Sriji Maharaj replied, that is also a major deficiency in the devotee. In other words, despite the fact that their mind has become stable, and despite the fact that they have intensely firm faith in God, they still fail to experience profound happiness in their heart. Specifically, they do not feel, I am extremely fortunate and completely fulfilled, whereas others in the world are constantly being troubled by lust, avarice, anger, infatuation, arrogance, matsar, desires, and cravings. They are subject to the three types of sufferings, which are adhidaiva, those caused by nature and divine beings, adhibhuta, those caused by other people or animals, and adhyatma, those caused by one's own mind. As for me, the incarnate form of Purushottam has compassionately revealed his own form to me. He has also freed me from lust, anger, and all of the other vicious natures. He has also placed me in the company of sadhus, saints similar to Narada, a great being in Indian literature, and the Sanakadik. Indeed, I am very fortunate. failing to think in this manner and failing to remain extremely elated throughout the day is a major deficiency. In fact, such a devotee is like a child who has been given a chintamani in its hand, yet derives no happiness from it because it does not realize the chintamani's value. Similarly, the major drawback of that devotee is that despite having attained Purushottam Bhagavan, God, he does not feel constant elation within by realizing, I am completely fulfilled. Moreover, when a fault is noticed in a devotee, one should think their svabhav sentiment is such that it is not suitable in the Satsang fellowship. Nevertheless, they have attained Satsang. Regardless of what they are like, they still have remained in the Satsang fellowship. Surely then, their samskars, their impressions from past lives or from this very life, must be extremely favorable for them to have attained this Satsang, this positive association. With this understanding, one should highly appreciate even such a person's virtues. After this discourse, Sriji Maharaj bid Jai Satchit Ananda. Salutations, victory to that existence, consciousness, bliss, to everyone, and returned to his residence. So, many topics in this section. To me, I feel like some of the key points were to judge not others for things that we are still working on. Judge not others who have defects but are surrounding themselves with the right people and places to eventually work on those defects. And most importantly, to harbor that sentiment that I am fulfilled already. The attitude of gratitude. Thank you for listening. And thank you, Shakira, for your heart me a minute ago while we read. Radhe, Radhe. Hello, Trisha. And thank you, Nassau, for your cloud bread too. Jai Sitaram. And Shakira, you share. You like that. If how you think of God, you will become. Very true. Being the source of existence, we therefore must inherit the attributes of that source. So it is in our best interest to assume good qualities in that source so that we may inherit them ourselves. And thank you, this is my show, for your fire too. Jai Sitaram. Maya, you share that I look how you and your partner's child would look like. As beautiful, long hair, kind spirit. Well, I'm very grateful that you are able to look at me as a mother would. I think it is important to have that sentiment with everyone, that we are all brothers and sisters, or siblings in general, All the feminine I look upon like a mother, like a sister, or like a daughter. And all the masculine I look upon like a father, like a brother, like a son, like family. And everyone in between and beyond I look upon as a parent, a sibling, or a child. And thank you, Esther, for your pair of roses, and Maya Fiona for your rose as well. Radhe, oh Radhe. Apple user, you ask a very important question. How am I so chill if there's war in the world? Because being any less chill would only be adding to the conflict in the world. And therefore, though it is important to recognize the conflict that exists in the world, it is also important not to bring that conflict within your very own heart. The outer world may be full of conflict, but let the inner world be full of peace. Then you will be able to share that peace with those. If our goal is to attend to the conflict in the world, then we have to be unconflicted ourselves. Otherwise, how will we even know what to look for when it comes to peace if we do not feel that ourselves? And Shakira, thank you for your team bracelet a moment ago too. Hello, Larok. Ariom Tatsa. Mischief, you ask, have I ever considered practicing karma yoga at an ashram? You'd think I'd resonate with it. That is my dream this summer. I don't care if I just get to sweep the floors of a temple every day. That is enough yoga for me. And Katie Pond, thank you for your heart me and team bracelet. Jai Sitaram. And Larag, you're asking, when am I going? You're going this summer also. I'm thinking at the end of August 20th or around there. And thank you, Sky Guardian. I very much look forward to your connections, which you are so good at forging. And Mischief, you share that you just came back from the Sivananda one in the Bahamas, and it was magic. Well, I am so blessed to have such a karma yogi here. Thank you. Speaking of karma, Karma Cat, thank you for your rose and hand heart. Jai Sitaram. And thank you, Katie Pond, for another team bracelet a moment ago. Jai Hanumanji. Glusa, you are happy for that. Will I make lives there? If I can, yes. And Rainbow, thank you for your rose. Hariom Tat Sat. And who knows? Maybe I meet this teacher who tells me to get off my phone. Maybe I'll listen to them too. We'll see. thank you, Rainbow, for your rose. Radhe, Radhe. PK, you ask, what is Turiya? Turiya is the fourth state, in reference to the three bodies: waker, dreamer, and deep sleeper. When we are awake, we identify as the one who is awake. When we are asleep, we identify as the one who is dreaming. And although it is not a process that takes place in the conscious mind, while we are in deep sleep, we are identified as the one who is deeply sleeping. Turiya is the fourth state. It is said that Turiya is closest to deep sleep, yet pervades all three states. It is the consciousness itself that is witness to what happens while awake, while in dream, while in sleep. Recognizing yourself to be that all-pervading witness of your experience is to be in the state of Turiya, the fourth state, beyond all three. And thank you, this is my show, for your ginger man. 2 of them. Radhe, Radhe. Apple user, you ask, what's the 5th state? Isn't it guarded or something? Perhaps you are referring to a different model. But the 4th state is the ultimate state, and it's not really another state like the other 3. It is called so only in reference to the 3 states, waking, dreaming, and deep sleeping. But those cover all of our experiences. There isn't anything higher. Turiya is that higher state, metaphorically being that which pervades all of your experiences without us realizing. And Izzy, thank you for your finger heart. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shakira, you ask, how am I celebrating Mother's Day? I'll have to see. I know that my younger sister has been begging my mother to take her across the ferry to Vancouver. However, I am sure that my mother would not like to do so on Mother's Day. She would probably like a very understimulating day, just full of relaxation. And it's a good question. What do you think I should do for my mother tomorrow? I'm looking for all the help I can get. And if my mother is watching this stream, go away. Secret. And thank you, Izzy, for your finger heart, and Rainbow for your rose. Make her dinner, that's a great idea. I like that. Make her food, says Shakira as well. Cook for her. Good idea. Yes, Tom Sanderson, you agree, cook for her? Take her to a nice park. I like that. Shakira, you share. Write her a lovely card with cute drawings. Neen, you share that as a mom/grandma, you suggest relaxing with family and pampering her. Cooking is great. Trisha, you share natural, essential fragrance. And Shakira, you add, give her hug coupons. Oh, I'm sure she has an infinite supply of those already. But I can write some out for her. I think she'd appreciate that incentive anyway. Emily, you share, I should write her a letter describing her love. Scott Gibson, you recommend buying her a rose plant. She has many of those in the garden, which she takes care of. Gregard, gee, you share I should plant a tree for her. I love that idea. There is a tree growing in the front garden that she has suggested of repotting because it will take over the other plants. I could replant that tree for her. Breakfast in bed. That's an idea. That is an idea. Sky Guardian, you share I should take her to a nice Indian vegetarian restaurant. I like that idea also. I also like the idea of cooking for her too. But that's an alternative if I can't seem to get my act together and make something. Give her a check for $2,000. I don't think she'd accept that. But that is an idea. Be a good boy. I like that, Dan Hao Yu. And Trisha, you share all of the attention and affection. And Katie Pond, you say I should ask her what her perfect day would be. I love that. And Anthony, you have a question. I do know how to cook, right? I should. I worked in a deli for 2 years of my life. Made many pizzas and lasagnas, salads and sandwiches. But I could always follow a recipe. I should grant her a new tattoo. I think she'd very much like that. She has been wanting some. Do chores. Good idea. Yes. Yes. And Sea Bear, you share I should do her favorite thing with her. So lovely. Buy her a new car, says Aquarius Lady. My goodness. How much money do you think I have? Alright. I think I've gotten many lovely ideas from you all. I will start with doing chores and writing her a lovely letter full of love. And I'll either take her to a restaurant, perhaps, if she's interested, or cook something simple for her. Maybe I can bake her cookies. She likes that as well. And I'll do some gardening for her, perhaps. It sounds like I've got a big day already with all those ideas. But most importantly, I'll ask her what she wants to do. So thank you, everyone. For giving so much love on behalf of your own experience with being a mother and having a mother. For my mother. And I'll send her all of your best wishes also. And thank you, Little Wing Nico, for your finger heart and fire a few minutes ago by now. Hari Om Tat Sat. And this is my show. Thank you for that disco love too. Jai Sitaram. And Shakira, thank you for your tiny. Yippee! Enzo, you ask, what is an easy chant or mantra for beginners? Well, the easiest of all chants is Om. 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 But if you're more drawn to an affirmation, then I would recommend a mantra that uplifts you. A great one for that is the famous Buddhist mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. which means Om, the jewel at the center of the lotus. It's a beautiful one. It all depends on the sentiment that you wish to convey through words. And thank you, Katie Pond, for your 10 roses. Jai Sitaram. And hello, Finsky. Thank you. Little Wing Nico, you ask for me to please let my mom know that she should be mighty proud to have such a caring, gentle, loving son. That's very kind of you. Although I'm not sure how I would convey that to you. Mom, you should be proud that I am your son. Thank you. Judah girl, you share that you do 10 affirmations out loud 3 times a day, and you're also learning to meditate. I love that. I'm very happy to hear that for you. Surrounded by shadows, you asked, have I ever tried smoking or substances while meditating? I got into meditation a long time after I put all of the substances in my life aside. However, I'm sure that it would have led to some very surreal experiences, probably. Even without any substances, meditation can lead to some very powerful, transformative experiences. And Little Wing Nico, you share that meditation was the only thing that got rid of your toothache. That's very interesting. I'm happy to hear that you were able to empower yourself to do some energy work while meditating that led to the release of some tension. You are living proof of its effectiveness. And Chloe, you share that you have an uncle who meditates. He's an atheist. Well, that's alright. Meditation is certainly trans-theistic. Regardless of who you are, you may meditate. And a vegan. Sometimes it does help to meditate with some respect to the food that you eat and the times that you eat. Meditating before a meal and on an empty stomach can lead to a more powerful meditation experience. And eating lighter foods like fresh vegetables can absolutely also be conducive to a very clear mind. Zaldras, you ask, do you think Sasquatch is real? I've never met him personally, so I can't speak to his realness. But after watching the Big Les show, I'm sure that if he is, he's a very chill dude. I mean, you gotta be. Hanging out in the woods, away from civilization. Sounds pretty chill to me. Mr. Astor Labe, you ask, what's my favorite food? You know, I'm scared to say, to tell you the truth, because the last time I said it, the universe gave me that food every day for months. And then I got to have new favorite foods. I said one time, I love chicken burgers. I ate so many chicken burgers that I could never eat a chicken burger again. My favorite food is one with variety in it, to tell you the truth. When there's something sour, something sweet, something crunchy, something soft, when there's a variety of flavor and texture, I'll happily eat that. So it's not about any particular food, as it is the variety of tastes and textures that makes a food good, in my opinion. Surrounded by shadows, you ask, have I astral projected before? And if I did, how was my experience? I have never tried, to tell you the truth. I'm still coming to be familiar with the reality I'm already in, let alone any other possible reality. It's going to take me a long time before I come to terms with everything that's already here before me. And hello, Immacula. You ask, am I vegan? In my diet, I try to be Sattvic, which is all about eating food that is conducive to spiritual growth. And so you ask yourself before eating something, will this make me feel hyperactive after eating it? Or will it make me feel fatigued after eating it? Because what you want on the spiritual path is a clear mind. Is eating this conducive to having a clear mind? And that's what I try to eat. In other words, does it contain fresh food? Does it contain very simple food, very light food? Is this food going to overwhelm me? Is it going to put me to sleep? That kind of food, I try to be unattached to. And it just so happens that meat is one of those things that are really heavy. Whereas a more vegetable-based diet happens to be one of those food groups that are very light and easy to digest. Apple user, you share that it's sad how unhealthy foods are so addictive to people who don't understand. I wouldn't look at it that way. We all understand that unhealthy foods are just easier. They take less time to prepare. They taste better. They're cheaper. It is not a lack of understanding, but a lack of willpower. Because it takes effort to go out of your way to do anything that is healthy. Success always lies upstream. Therefore, if you want to achieve higher things, then you will have to push against the current. And having that empowerment is a rare blessing, a grace that not many of us exercise. But when it does come, that time for you to be exercising your willpower to the fullest extent, I am sure that we all will take advantage of that to the most of our abilities. And thank you, Nick, for your pair of tiny tinies. Yippee! And the link below. Thank you for your donut. Radhe, Radhe. Priscilla, you agree? Yes, you have to do exercises. Me too, I'm gaining a belly. I've never had a belly before. Magdalene, you share that you secured the pocket Bhima Chodron today and take delight in the foreseeable travels we will make. I'm so happy to hear that. In honor of your new travel buddy, let us read from another section of the pocket Bhima Chodron. If you don't know, Bhima Chodron is a wonderful Buddhist nun, one of the wisest women in the world, though she'd never admit to that. She's too humble. Many of her great sayings have been included here in this book, known as the Pocket Bhima Chodron. This book has been wonderful to me so far, so I'm sure you'll enjoy this verse. 46. How to defeat fear. Once there was a young warrior. Her teacher told her that she didn't... I messed up already. I'll just start again. Once there was a young warrior. Her teacher told her that she had to do battle with fear. She didn't want to do that. It seemed too aggressive. It was scary. It seemed unfriendly. But the teacher said she had to do it and gave her the instructions for the battle. The day arrived. The student warrior stood on the side and fear stood on the other. The warrior was feeling very small, and fear was looking big and wrathful. They both had their weapons. The young warrior roused herself and went toward fear, prostrated 3 times, and asked, "May I have permission to go into battle with you?" Fear said, "Thank you for showing me so much respect that you ask permission." Then the young warrior said, "How can I defeat you?" Fear replied, "My weapons are that I talk fast and I get very close to your face. Then you get completely unnerved and you do whatever I say. If you don't do what I tell you, I have no power. You can listen to me, and you can have respect for me, You can even be convinced by me. But if you don't do what I say, I have no power. In that way, the student warrior learned how to defeat fear. Just don't do what it says. And that is 46. How to defeat fear. And oh, the irony, I agree, Greg Archie, that fear is the one teaching that. So should we do what it says? To not do what it says? Ah, what a paradox. Strung by Stacy, you ask, how do you know it's fear talking? Well, if it's loud, then it's fearful. If it's quiet, then it's wonderful. Because the soul is echoed best by whispers, by silence, by quietude. But fear is very vocal. That's for sure. And your mama, thank you for your dozen roses. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Carrie King, thank you for your trio of roses. Jai Sita Ram. Little Wing Nico, you ask? Do I experience any issues with food due to my neurodivergency? I used to a lot, absolutely. Oh, my mom knows how hard it was to get me to eat anything. You know, forget vegetables. Forget even other food. She said I used to eat 3 things: ice cream, French fries, and plums. Those were my food groups. That's it. And I would hate to eat anything else. But then I remember watching some show. Maybe it was it Bubble Guppies? Some kid's show. Or one of the talking fish said, "How will you know if you like it if you don't try it?" Of course, every kid hears this, but for some reason that really hit me. And I thought, yeah, there's so many things that I could be liking that I just haven't tried yet. So I started trying out things, and I discovered that I liked a lot more things than I thought I didn't. I remember being in grade 1, and on Valentine's Day, I got a caramel chocolate, and I had previously told myself that I didn't like caramel. But the truth is, I never tried it, so I ate it, and I discovered I actually liked it. And I remember saying out loud to the students around me, "This is my first time liking caramel." And I don't remember what everyone else said. They're like, "Oh, good for you," or something. Who knows? And then I started to enjoy the adventure of trying new things. Every time I go to a restaurant, of course, there's one thing that I know I would enjoy. It'd be a safe bet. But I'd rather push my comfort zone and order something that I've never even heard of. What is that? You know what? I'm not even going to ask the waiter. I'm going to try it. And so I get a new thing every time I go to a restaurant. I think neurodivergence has a lot to do with sensitivity. And that sensitivity can lead to a fear of trying new things. But that fear can be defeated by not doing what it says, as Bhima Chodron said. This is my show. Thank you for your ginger man a minute ago. Jai Sitaram. And strung by Stacy. Thank you for your trio of roses. And hello, Billy. I am doing well. Thank you for asking. And yesterday's child, thank you for your 11 roses. Radhe, oh Radhe. And Michelle, thank you for your heart me and finger heart. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Michelle, you share that your neurodivergent grandson only eats cereal, nuts, and ice cream. Sounds like me. Yes. And thank you, Carrie King, for your 7 roses. Radhe, oh Radhe. Hello, RW. And say no to kale. You ask, how to get unstuck, getting out of comfort zone. Just do one thing every day that you don't want to do, and make it real easy for yourself. For example, when I was gaining my appetite back, because for most of my life I had a really suppressed appetite, what I would do is, whenever I'd normally put down the fork, I would just take one more bite. That's all. And eventually I felt like I could handle 2 more bites. And that would happen maybe the next day, maybe in a month. But you'll be surprised how quickly that can add up just by changing your actions by 0.1% every day. It compounds a lot quicker than you think. Now, I said hi to you, RW. I guess you didn't hear me though, so I'll say hi to you again. Hello. And Michelle, thank you for your balloons. Hari Om Tat Sat. And this is my show. Thank you for your cheer you up and quartet of team bracelets. And hello, Sarah. How goes farming? Farmer Sarah. Sea Bear, you ask. How did I get my hair looking so full and luscious? I just took a shower. That's all. Now, I said I'd take it easy today, so I think I will end the live stream a little sooner than later, before the sun goes down. I'd like to go for a walk. But we have been live for 2 hours so far. Also, before we go, we will do 3 other things. That is, I have a question of the day for you all, another short reading from Roar the Ganges, and also a chanting tonight. As some of you know, I've been tapering off my anti-anxiety medication because I feel like I have the inner space I need for that challenge, which is really inspiring to me. So in these coming days, I'll probably be giving myself lots of room for understimulation relaxation as to make my transition as easy as possible for my mind and my body. I thank you all for understanding. But I'm still open to doing live streams, of course, just maybe a little shorter ones. So my question of the day for you all today is a rather long one, but one I think you'll understand regardless. I am wondering, in what experience have you found bliss, where others may have expected not to? Know that there are many experiences which we can experience, and many people may assume that that experience will only lead to misery. And yet, you may have found happiness in it. You have proved everyone else wrong by finding bliss in the unexpected. And Trisha, you share being present with your cat. No joking. I love that. Yeah. I told my friend today that today I'd like to just be a cat. And what I mean is that I'm just gonna lay down on the floor with my cats, or when they're outside, I'll just look at whatever they're looking at. If they're looking at the birds, I'm gonna look at the birds with them. I like being present with my cat also. If they're taking a nap, I'll take a nap as well. I'm gonna be a cat today. I love that. Loneliness, says Inclusa. I love that. Yeah. Well, to be fair, you spelt it lolliness, which maybe is no mistake. Maybe that's laughing out loudliness. Which, in turn, conveys a lot of bliss. And completely falling apart, says user 623. I love that observation. Sometimes you just gotta fall apart in order to put yourself back together again. And Katie Pond, you share COVID lockdown. Oh, it's an introvert's dream, isn't it? You're telling me I don't have to socialize, and it's recommended that I stay inside and that I don't go to work? Mashallah. Likewise, Don Suela, you share long periods of solitude. Yeah, definitely. And Arthur, you share the death of your mother. I'm very happy that you are able to find bliss in such a sensitive experience. Thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful. And deceased, you share that during the most stressful times of your life, you experienced bliss because there are no problems in the now. I like that. Stress can be a great motivator to just become present and let go of all of the expectations that others have put on us or we have put on ourselves, and just do our best regardless of outcome. And love, says Finsky. Love has a lot of trial and error to it, and it absolutely can lead to bliss where you don't expect, that's for sure. Say no to Kale, you share taking a Pilates class. I'm happy to hear that for you. Strung by Stacy, you share learning techniques of beading and creating something beautiful. I love that. Yeah. Thinking of your name, I was reminded from a quote from the Bhagavad Gita that was a metaphor to beading, or a metaphor of beading related to all of us as beings, as being strung on a thread, that we are all like beads strung on the great thread of the universe, weaving together as the fabric of life, a metaphor for Krishna. And Grand 11, you share meditation. Many will not try, and few indeed are those that try and succeed. I'm happy to hear that. Heather, you found bliss in being in a wheelchair for a year, but not initially. I'm sure it's quite an adjustment, but I love that you are able to be positive in the face of such challenges. And hello, dead girl. Inclusa, you share your Portuguese. I think you are responding to the last comment you made. But there is a lot of bliss in Portuguese. I love the sound of Portuguese personally. It is like ASMR to me. Crystal, you share, when you eat your cookie, you are in bliss. And Huimana, you share, divorce and getting your kid taken away from you. It's a powerful thing to go through, and an even more powerful thing to discover who you are beyond your dependents and those that you depend on. That can be very liberating. All my best wishes to you. And Dirty Hippie Gypsy Mom, you share, while you're getting tattooed, you tend to go into euphoria. You know, I'm so curious what that feels like. I'm one of those people that also enjoys, not sure how to say this, some kinds of pain, of course, when they are consensual, can very much be a euphoric experience. That discipline to go through such an energetic phenomenon of the senses can be very enlivening. I agree. Cookie, Mochi, and Boba, you share, ridding yourself of bad influence, which meant parting with many friends, but you're far more at peace. I'm happy to hear that. Alice, you found bliss in witnessing others cry and show their vulnerability. Isn't that so sweet? It is such a blessing to witness vulnerability, isn't it? And being vulnerable yourself, that's wonderful. Gillette, you share taking care of the elderly. You enjoy listening to their stories and wisdom. I love that. What is that quote? A smart person learns from their mistakes, but a wise person learns from the mistakes of others. Old people have a lot of experience. That's for sure. And thank you, Ron, for your heart me. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Nene, thank you for your heart me. Jai Sita Ram. And Noor, you find bliss in submitting yourself to Allah. I find that such a hard thing for many of us Westerners to understand. How can surrender be blissful? Doesn't it mean a kind of defeat? No one wants to surrender to their enemy. But the word surrender here has a spiritual connotation that perhaps few will understand. Now, thank you everyone for exploring this question of the day with me. I love all of your answers, and I love how So many little conversations are sparked during these. It is so wonderful that you have all experienced bliss where others may have expected not to, or even yourself. Much bliss lies beyond our expectations. That's for sure. So thank you, everyone. And I believe that the more we keep inquiring on this question, the more answers will come. But we'll pause there for now as we transition to the penultimate segment, reading from Roar the Ganges, a book gifted to me by its author's disciple, Sky Guardian. Its author, Swami Tadatmananda, was not always a Swami, and for about this much of the book, he was not a Swami, but now in this final section of the book we are discovering what it's like for him to be a Swami, to be a Hindu monk. Someone who has dedicated their life completely to moksha, for ultimate liberation. Good night, A2. And I'm so happy to hear that you love this book, Priscilla. He was not the only one who was initiated recently into Swamihood. His friend Achyut was, and the two of them, Mark and Achyut, renounced their old names, died as if it were, and became Swami Tadatmananda and Swami Atmadriptananda, who came carrying two large stainless steel containers filled with handles like little buckets. "Are you ready to go?" he asked. "Here is your begging bowl." I grabbed one of the vessels, and we walked out of the ashram gate. Swami Dayananda had instructed us to go to a nearby Annakshetra for our meals today. When he first came to Rishikesh in 1962, he had gone there for his meals, as many other sadhus did and still do. He wanted us to experience how other sadhus live. Annakshetras are establishments that provide free food to sadhus, spiritual renunciates of every kind, and to the destitute. There are two large Annakshetras in Rishikesh, both funded by charitable trusts set up long ago to ensure that they would continue to distribute hundreds of meals each day. The food provided is meager at best. A stack of coarse rotis. A stack of dal would be impressive. A stack of coarse rotis, flatbread similar to Mexican tortillas, and watery dal, a spicy lentil soup. Our guru, Swami Dayananda, once jested about the daily menu. One day you get roti and dal, the next day you get dal and roti. We crossed the bridge to the main bazaar and turned down a narrow lane crowded with shoppers, bicycles, auto rickshaws, and lazy cows. We came to a tall facade bearing the words Kali Kamliwala Annakshetra. Kali Kamliwala means one who wears black blanket. This name was acquired by a sadhu named Swami Atma Prakash, who lived here 5 decades ago. He became the inspiration for this Annakshetra and others that provide food and boarding to pilgrims and sadhus at a number of religious centers in the region. We entered the building and joined the other sadhus already standing in line. Each looked as unique as those who had come to our Bandhara, the party we read about earlier this day. And every one of them carried a steel pot, just like ours. Such pots have apparently become the standard begging bowls in modern India. The line slowly progressed until we reached a doorway, from which dal was ladled from a huge vat into our pots. We were handed a stack of rotis which Swami Atma Triptananda wrapped in the end of his upper cloth to keep them warm until we returned to our ashram to eat. According to some scriptures, sadhus are supposed to spend their days wandering, traveling from village to village, sleeping either in temple halls or under trees. In India's warm climate, sadhus could roam like this throughout the year, except during the rainy season, when they were supposed to stay in one place for 4 months. At all other times, they were permitted to stay in a village no longer than 3 days. They received their food from homes clustered in the villages. Village folk looked upon the sadhus as holy visitors and considered themselves blessed by the opportunity to feed the monks. If no sadhus came begging for a few days, villagers would feel sad and wonder if they had committed some sin for which they were being punished. The lifestyle of these wandering mendicants was meant to free them from all attachment. It was also a lifestyle of tremendous freedom. In most parts of India, villages lie only a few miles apart. Sadhus were not compelled to travel far each day. Most of their time was available for meditation, prayer, and study. When they stopped in a village for a few days, they usually held satsangs, gatherings in which truth was discussed, in which they taught the village folk and narrated religious stories. The idyllic life of a wandering sadhu has been highly praised and idealized throughout India. This romantic image continues to capture the imagination of many, though few actually take to such a life these days. Shankara extolled the utter freedom of this lifestyle in a Sanskrit hymn celebrating the roaming ascetics, those who wear the kaupina, a type of simple underwear, alone. Here we have a translation for such a poem. Reveling always in Vedanta's great teachings, content with whatever alms food they receive, free from sorrow and filled with compassion, blessed are they who wear the kaupina. Taking shelter each night at the foot of a tree, satiated by food their 2 hands did bring, spurning all wealth like a pile of rags, blessed are they who wear the kaupina. Dismissing the feeling, I am this body, discovering within the truth of the self, forgetting all else, near, middle, and far, blessed are they who wear the kaupina. Completely fulfilled in the bliss of the self, freed from attachment to all they perceive, reveling in Brahman, the ultimate reality, all day and all night, blessed are they who wear the kaupina. Reciting the mantra of 5 sacred letters, meditating upon the Lord in their hearts, wandering everywhere, begging food as they go, blessed are they who wear the kaupina. These wandering sadhus were distinguished by wearing various religious insignia associated with the monastic order to which they belonged. On their foreheads they wore various marks. The 3 horizontal lines of ash worn by worshippers of Lord Shiva, the V-shaped mark of Lord Vishnu's devotees, or a simple dot of sandalwood paste or red sindoor worn between the eyebrows. Most went barefoot and wore a single piece of unstitched cloth dyed orange with geru clay. Some eschewed the robes and wore only a kaupina, and a few wore nothing at all, covering their bodies instead with sacred ash. Some carried a danda, a wooden staff symbolic of their order. Worshippers of Shiva sometimes carried a fierce-looking metal trident. Many carried a kamandalu, a pot made from a gourd used for collecting food and water in the days before stainless steel. Even today, a few sadhus still maintain the life of a wandering mendicant. But most now live in modest ashrams or rustic cottages, sometimes alone, sometimes with other sadhus and disciples. Very few live in caves or, as Shankara's hymn acclaimed, at the foot of a tree, while some are supported by the donations of kind-hearted patrons. Many depend on the food from annakshetras. In Rishikesh, I learned that the life of many modern sadhus can be harsh and laborious. I met some who lived in ramshackle huts lacking bathroom facilities and were constrained to walk miles twice each day through blazing heat or pouring rain to stand in line for a paltry meal of roti and dal. And yet, some urban Indians have become highly critical of this sadhu culture, claiming that many become sannyasis merely for the sake of free food and a life of leisure. Perhaps this is true for some, but as there are always a few who abuse the goodwill of others. But it appeared to me that the vast majority of these sadhus had turned their backs on comfortable life they could have enjoyed, choosing instead an arduous lifestyle that provides complete freedom for spiritual pursuit. How these sadhus use their freedom varies widely, depending on their inclinations and circumstances. Most are engaged in lives of meditation, prayer, study, teaching, writing, and so on. Some perform charitable work in ashrams, schools, or dispensaries. A few still wander the countryside, and a few live a loose, carefree lifestyle, reminding me of the hippies of the 1960s. I sometimes observed them hidden along the riverbank, smoking marijuana, a wild plant that grows abundantly in the hills of this region. Standing in line with the sadhus at the annakshetra, I wondered what kind of sadhu I would be. Being born in the West, I did not share their value for religious insignia or for a life of wandering. I did, however, share their value for a monastic life of meditation, prayer, study, and teaching. In a few weeks, I would return to the US, where sannyasa, renunciation, is virtually unknown, where someone wearing saffron robes might be considered a crazy person in an orange bedsheet. I wondered which aspects of sadhu life I should adopt and which I should not. The answers to my questions would ultimately come only after I returned home and learned how to integrate my new lifestyle into modern American culture. My friend Swami Atma Triptananda and I returned from the Annakshetra carrying our pots filled with dal. As we walked through gate, Neela came to greet us. She bent low and touched Swami Atma Triptananda's feet. Then she bent down to touch my feet. I stepped back, feeling embarrassed and confused, but she stood before me, grabbed my shoulders and looked into my eyes. Then, without saying a word, she bent down again and touched my feet. Straightening up, she smiled and her eyes sparkled with amusement. She pressed her hands together in a prayerful gesture and briskly walked away. Swami Atmatriptananda put his hand on my shoulder and said, "You understand that it's traditional to touch the feet of a Swami, don't you?" "Yes, of course," came my reply, "but it makes me uncomfortable." Swami Atmatriptananda's voice became stern. "They touch your feet to receive a blessing. You cannot deny them the opportunity." "But why should they seek blessings from me?" I protested. He explained, "Because you now wear the robes of a sannyasi, a renunciate. It's actually the saffron cloth that is revered, not you." Anyone wearing this cloth will receive the same respect because of the tradition it represents. Over the centuries, countless saints and sages have worn these robes. When you wear them, you represent that tradition. And when someone touches your feet, they seek the blessings of that entire tradition. So it is not you they venerate, it is the lineage of saints and sages. After that incident, my mind churned for hours. When I stepped back to avoid having my feet touched, I thought I was being modest. But then I came to understand it was actually the most immodest thing I could have done. I had assumed her act of reverence was for me, not for the robes or the tradition. This was a sobering lesson in humility. I had much to learn about being a sannyasi. And so we end our reading there. And with that, also the chapter and the part of many chapters. Next time we may continue part 5, Finding God Everywhere, which starts with some lovely Sanskrit which I am always so eager to read, from the Katha Upanishad. But we'll have to save our excitement, or my excitement, for later. For now, we'll end our live stream, not before we do a final closing mantra chanting session, if you would like to join me. But thank you, Juliana, for your heart me. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Ron, thank you for your 6-finger hearts. Jai Sita Ram. And thank you, Queen Bee, for your rose too. Radhe Radhe. And one cheeky chick, thank you for your heart me. So before we go, today we will be reciting the Gayatri Mantra, which is a very ancient and very sacred mantra recited by millions of people who have walked this earth for the last 2,500 years at least, but likely more like 5,000, maybe even 10,000 or more years. The Buddha said as well that there is no meter more sacred than that of the Gayatri, referring to the poetic rhythm of the Gayatri Mantra. Today we are doing an extra rare version that includes a prologue and an epilogue. So there are 2 other lines, prepended and appended. So I'm going to be minimizing the background music that we've been listening to thus far, so we can maximize a beautiful chanting of it in the background for us to sing along with. Although I am familiar with the Gayatri Mantra, I am not familiar with this rare, more full version. So I'll display it for you now. It starts with Om Buhur Om Bhuvaha Om Swaha Om Mahaha Om Janaha Om Tapaha Om Satyam. And then the traditional Gayatri mantra. Om Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. And then the epilogue. Om Apojyotirraso Mritam Brahma Bhur Bhuva Svaha Om. And we'll be listening it to a couple times. And so don't worry if it takes you a couple times to chant it, matching the voice in the background. It'll certainly take me a couple times too. So it'll be a learning experience together. Without further ado, this chanting session will be only for 4 minutes as well. So a really short one today.
Om Jnana, Om Tapaha, Om Satyam, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat, Om Apojyotirasomritam Brahma Bhurvaswaram. Om Bhur, Om Vaha, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Janaha, Om Tapaha, Om Satyam, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Apojyotirasomritam Brahma Bhurvaswaram. Om Bhur, Om Vaha, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Janaha, Om Tapaha, Om Satyam, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Apojyotirasomritam Brahma Bhurvaswaram. Om Bhur, Om Vaha, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Janaha, Om Tapaha, Om Satyam, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Apojyotirasomritam Brahma Bhurvaswaram. Om Bhur, Om Vaha, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Janaha, Om Tapaha, Om Satyam, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Apojyotirasomritam Brahma Bhurvaswaram. Om Bhur, Om Vaha, Om Swaha, Om Maha, Om Janaha, Om Tapaha, Om Satyam, Om Tat Savitur Varenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurvo Jyotirasomritam Brahma Bhurvuvaswaram.
What a wonderful full version of the Gayatri Mantra. Thank you, Sky Guardian, for sending that to us. Thank you for chanting along with me. The mantra itself is difficult to translate given the fact that it's so esoteric, but roughly that central part represents shifting your awareness from Bhur, which is the earth, to Bhuva, which is what's above the earth, to Svaha, the celestial plane. Tat Savitur Varenyam, that sun-like divinity, worthy of worship. Dhyo Bhargo. It's like reciting the alphabet from the middle. It's hard. I gotta start from the beginning. Humbu Bhurvasvaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. That remover of ignorance we meditate upon. Dhyo Yonah Prachodayat. May you propel our intellect. And in what direction doth our intellect become propelled? Om Bhur Bhuvasvaha. From the earth, as we repeat it, to the interspace and the celestial plane. The story behind how this mantra came into existence is very phenomenal. But maybe we can leave that for another time. And thank you, Little Wing Nico, for your rose. Radhe Radhe. And Bobby Sue, thank you for your subscription as well. You know, I am so grateful to have the opportunity to be in service to such kind souls as yourself. And thank you, Echo Leaf, for all of your generosity. Pardon me. Radhe Radhe. There's a wonderful 2 to 3 hour story on how the Gayatri Mantra came into existence, which you can find on YouTube. The story of the Gayatri Mantra, spoken by someone in the lineage of Paramahansa Yogananda, which is a wonderful storyteller. They are. Peace, love, respect. I love that. And thank you, Alice. Now, we are going to end our live stream tonight a little earlier. As I said, I'm going through some things in my personal life which perhaps is best conducted with some lenience on my own body and mind, so I'll be taking it easy for the rest of the night. However, I thank you all for being here. I will be uploading the recording of this to the Yamsox Lives YouTube channel, which is the first link in the link tree in my bio. Also on the ASMR channel, we've been reading through the Bhagavad Gita and doing some other fun stuff there. That's the second link in the link tree in my bio. You are welcome to check that out. I also have a store section of the link tree in my bio, which, albeit is embarrassing for someone who is very much aspiring to be more spiritual, but it is not just for the material commodity that I offer this to you, but as a way of supporting me. And if you benefit in return from receiving these Yamsox, for example, which are exactly what they sound like, or a toque that has a tiny tiny on it that says, yippee, then I would be most grateful to offer that to you. And in return, you're supporting my journey of going to India. That's what I'm saving up for, by the way. If you're wondering why I am looking for some support, though it's never expected, nor is it ever necessary. I'd like to expand my comfort zone, to leave my country and see what it's like to explore another culture so vastly different from my own. And thank you, Gary King, for your 7 roses. Hari Om Tat Sat. And thank you, Little Wing Nico. And thank you, A2, for your subscription also. That's very kind of you. I'm very happy for this opportunity to be of any help to the divinity within you. And the link below. Thank you for your subscription also. I'm grateful to have you here, and I hope you enjoy the sticker pack that comes with it. I know it's a small thing, but it is the least I can provide. Now thank you all for joining me today. May this be an offering to Sri Radha Krishna, and be an offering to all of you. And the Radha Krishna in you as Purusha and Prakriti, consciousness and nature. Shaktiman Shakti, the potential and the potency. Radhe Krishna, Radhe Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Shyam Shyam, Radhe Radhe. All right. May you all have a beautiful rest of your present moment. Namaste and namaskar.